and my boss here with Honda Australia and was like, man, we really think you should be back on a 250. And went out there when I was 15 as an amateur. You don't know anything else apart from just going fast. I've got to dig deep, it's hot, you're really like digging to keep that speed for 230 plus twos. It's a push. I mean, I certainly feel like I'm getting better and better every year still. So the goal is to do some more winning. I want to be the next British World Champion.
There's not too many riders that can say they have competed at the highest level in MXGP and also the US motocross and supercross. But there is one rider here with us today that can say that, and also add to that the World Supercross runner-up in SX2, the defending Australian Supercross champion in SX2, Max Anstie. Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here, back in Australia, here in Adelaide, ready to get to work again.
Now, let's start with where it all began for Max Anstie. What age, how did you get into the sport?
I can never remember a time without bikes. It's one of those where I think I got a bike when I was 3 years old, and that's it. I genuinely can't remember a time where bikes weren't a part of my life. Okay, being injured here and there for a couple of weeks and, take a few weeks off for this or for that, but it's always been a part of my life, and one step leads to another, and here we are, traveling the world, going round and round and going as fast as we can.
Now, as a junior rider, was success, winning races, something that come easily, very quickly, or was it one of those things that you had to work for over the time before you started to see that success?
Definitely, it was a work in progress. I mean, weirdly, Supercross, like this kind of thing, I actually grew up racing on a 50, a 65 and on an 85 in the UK. Racing the British stuff, which was this stadium gives me those vibes, it's been a while since I've raced in a stadium like this, but then obviously the focus is more on outdoors, and it took me until I was about 14, 15 and I started getting better and better, racing with Jeffrey Hurlings in the sand. I'd go over to Holland every week, and it was weird. My dad would build me a Supercross track. So after school, Monday to Thursday, I would ride Supercross. Just after school, I'd come home, and we just didn't have a lot of land, so it was just a Supercross style track, tight, and a load of jumps and safety skills and things that help now, I guess. And then Friday after school, we'd go straight to Holland, and I'd go and race in Holland, which is the sand. So it was weird. I'd have a bit of a mix for a good couple of years doing that. And then ended up moving to America when I was young, at 15, ended up finishing schooling over there just because I got picked up by KTM at the time to go and race and do all the amateur stuff, and then turned pro, and then I've bounced around all over the place, raced GPs, raced in America, raced Supercross, raced motocross, and now in Australia.
So let's talk about your move to America. It was at a very young age, as you said, 15. Was it a big step for you to make that change? Obviously, moving over there is going to be quite difficult, but from your racing side of it, the racing career you had prior to that and then going to America, was there a big jump, a big change for you?
At that age, I was so young, it was weird. I've almost had two American careers. So I went out there when I was 15 as an amateur. You don't know anything else apart from just going fast. I mean, I didn't even have a phone, I don't think. It was, my dad was like, eat, sleep, ride, and train. That was it. That's all I did for a few years. Turned pro, as it were, in America. I remember my first race, actually. I know Metty was in here a minute ago. I remember my first race at Glen Helen. He was on Geico, and I ended up, I was just turned 16. I was supposed to turn pro the year after, but something weird happened with some rules that I was under the impression, I think my dad just wanted me to go pro early anyway, but you know how that goes. But I was just turned 16, and I remember lining up at Glen Helen against guys like Metty and Jake Weimer and Dungy and Barsha and all these guys, and man, it was a big step then. That was a big step. Raced end of 2009, raced outdoors, then 2010, raced for Star Racing in the States, did Supercross and did motocross, and then I went back to Europe. So then I was still young, I was still 17, 18, and I went back to Europe and then had to, stand on my own 2 feet, learn how to become my own person with things, even dealing with teams and, training and all this kind of stuff. Up until that point, I was just, told what to do by my dad. But then I went over there. I remember going to France and on the first team that I was with in 2011, and my teammate Tommy Sell, a bit of competition or whatever, he was making like eggs for breakfast, and I didn't even know how to make eggs, so I ended up just doing the Rocky style and cracking eggs in a thing and eating them. And it was not nice. It was bad. Like I struggled for a little while, but I had to learn how to, sort my own life out. And I raced GPs from 2011 to 2019. So I mean, nine seasons of GPs. Had great success. Obviously, won a lot in the 250 class. Was third in the championship. Won a few races. Went 450. Got a lot of podiums. Won the Motocross of Nations in 2017 at Matley Basin. I won my last moto that I did in 2019 at Lommel. Wasn't planning on moving to the States that next year. It was just the way that it worked out with deals, and it was kind of weird. My wife wanted a summer wedding at the time. She was like, right, we're going to America. And I was like, okay, cool. And I had my team in Europe and all this stuff and that I was riding for in 2019. And so we went to the States at the end of 2019 to get married. And like 3 days before the wedding, the deal fell through that I was meant to have for 2020. And obviously then COVID happened and whatever. But a team out in the States was like, oh, would you come and ride the bike and see how you are at Supercross? And I was like, it's an hour away, Mil. Have I got, you'll be all right. Like, it's only a couple of days before the wedding. I was like, it's all right if I go and ride a bike. And I didn't even bring gear with me or any of this stuff. Went and rode the bike, and that was it. One thing led to another. Then the American dream started again. And it was, obviously COVID messed a few things up, but I got the opportunity to really focus my skills back in Supercross again. And to be honest, then 2022, Yariv reached out, and my boss here with Honda Australia was like, man, we really think you should be back on a 250, and we're building a program in the US for Supercross, and come and race the Australian Supercross Championship, the World Supercross Championship. And I was like, man, this is going to give me the extra laps, extra time that, even though I'm older, the extra time that I've sort of missed racing all those years of GPs, racing Supercross. So any extra laps and track conditions and different things is something that I jumped on. I was like, yeah, right, let's go and do it. And last year was great success doing the last few the end part of the season, World Supercross in Australia. That was great fun. And then this year we've had a great run in the US. Won a race. We've got 4 podiums. Was right there in the championship hunt. Ended up third in the 250 championship. Felt solid, and now just done round 1 of the World Supercross, second there, so in a solid position there. And here we are running number 1 plate here in Adelaide. It's first for me running number 1 plate, so that's going to be fun. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to be back.
Let's go back to your time in MXGP. You had some fantastic results. It appears through the years that you had, it was a work in progress though. It was not straight off the bat, you had some good results, but it wasn't until about 3 or 4 years in that you really got a whole grasp of it and started getting some really fantastic results there. Yeah,
so 2014 was my first 250 GP win. That was with Dixon. I mean, Dean Ferris rode for them. I mean, Wilson Todd's ridden for them. He was good at getting the best out of people. And yeah, won my first GP there at Lommel, and went on the next year to win. Can't even remember how many. I have to go back to the old stat book, but won a few races, had a good run going. Remember going into the last round, still in contention. I think I was like 49 points out of it. So if I went 1-1 and it was Geyser and Jonas, I think, if they DNF'd, then I was still mathematically there. Ended up third in the championship though. But still, that was great. Went on to Factory Husky in 2016. Had some good results, but actually rewinding back to 2015, at Ernée, where they are this weekend, the Motocross of Nations, that's why I'm not too bothered about not being there. I got landed on in the qualifying race and broke my neck and my back and my shoulder and a few other bits and bobs. So that really set me off, set my prep going into 2016 off, and that was my first year with Husky, but that transpired into 2017, first year on 450, being really good. Got 3 podiums at the end of the year, and then won the Motocross of Nations at home. So again, I don't know if I can top that. So doing that at Natalie Basin for me was of course something really special, and the whole weekend just was a dream. And I felt like I still have a bit to give. You know, I'm whatever I'm in, I want to win, and I got to the point, but I was never consistent, or I was still polishing things up. And the opportunity came to go to America and race Supercross, and I honestly think it's the best thing I've ever done, because now I've kind of rejuvenated my career. Touch wood, the body's solid. I'm 30 years old, but I feel like I'm 18 again, figuring things out on a Supercross track and having fun in this 250 class. So it's crazy how things work out, but definitely feel like I'm in a good spot, and I've still got, I'm still improving every week, every day, every year. I want to be better than what I was, last time I was out on track. So the goal is to do some more winning.
There's one thing I've noticed with just viewing the Supercross races and stuff, especially in America, the years prior over there as well. When a rider gets to their older age, things seem to slow down, and it seems to be more difficult to go and do things. You seem the opposite. Yeah. You seem like you're getting better and better each time you're out there. I mean, look at it now. You've got the Tomacs, even the Webbs. A lot of the guys, the Andersons, the Barshas. It's weird. I think back in the day, a lot of guys would retire really young, and I think maybe a lot of that's down to injuries. I think nowadays the doctors and things like that are much better at fixing you back up, I guess. I mean, because at the end of the day, we race, we crash, we're going to hit the floor. It's just how well we bounce and how well we get put back together. So I don't know, but it feels like it's becoming this era is, the older guys are still just as fast, as sharp, and I mean, I certainly feel like I'm getting better and better every year still. So I don't feel like I've still got areas that I'm polishing up. So it's definitely exciting, and at the end of the day, everyone's on their own path, aren't they? Some guys are peak when they're 16, 17, 18. Some guys, it takes a little longer. It just is what it is. When you get to this level and you're out there, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter to me. If I got a number 1 plate, I'd rather have a number 1 plate at one point than be retired already or whatever. It's doesn't matter how old you are or when you get it. I'd rather wait another year and get that number 1 plate than not have it at all. So, yeah, that's the goal. Okay, 2-part question: motocross or Supercross? I'm guessing you're going to lean towards Supercross now. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love both. I do love both. There's things about each that I find. I just find Supercross now, my brain, I love thinking about it. Like, I'm at night thinking about how to go faster through a set of whoops or an on-off. Whereas motocross, a lot of the tracks, especially the GP tracks, I can tell you in Czech Republic, you get to the top of the hill, you turn right, there's going to be 2 little weird ruts there, you drop down, switch. Like, I know the lines, the tracks don't really change from year to year, whereas Supercross, every time you get on track, you've got to learn fast. This is a brand new track for everyone. We've got to figure it out, go as fast as we can, like that. So I like Supercross for that aspect of it. But of course, I ride bikes. Motocross is still amazing, but Supercross is definitely where it's at for me at the moment. So then the second part to that, and you kind of answered that a little bit in that answer you gave me, which is harder? Physically, mentally? Okay, yeah, then they're both different. A lot of people ask me this. It's weird. Motocross is more like cardio hard. Like, you've got to dig deep. It's hot. You're really like digging to keep that speed for 230 plus twos. It's a push. Supercross is a lot more intense, so the heart rate will be really high. Shorter time, doesn't make it any easier. Breathing's really hard, but the forces through the body on a Supercross track are different. Like, the suspension's so stiff that G-force is like you're being squashed all the time. It's weird. You really almost got to be stronger in the gym to ride Supercross. It's a different style of training. The motocross, you want to be light and
and be able to dig and have cardio, and the bike's you are, the faster the bike goes. In Supercross, you see the Roxons, the Sextons. There's kind of a mix. Obviously, they have to race both, but like being stronger in Supercross, I think is quite important just because of that force. Even a bowl turn, for instance, you think you're just going around a turn, but the suspension's so stiff, you're railing that turn, and you're being like, it's like going around a roller coaster. You're being pushed into the seat as you're going around for 20 laps. A little bit different analogy on that one.
No, that's good. I agree. There's a finesse to Supercross,
yeah,
but you physically have to be strong to be able to get right through it.
Well, yeah. Once you've taken technique out of it, yeah, that's how. I mean, of course, Supercross you've got to be able to do the sections, jump the jumps. If you're just on an outdoor track and you pin it, you're fine for a bit. You'll get away with it for 5 minutes. You can't do that in here because you'll end up in that fence or on the first row of seats. But
people have done that here.
Yeah, I can imagine. So yeah.
This weekend we have the reintroduction of the Chad Reed, the CR2285 Cup, back into Supercross. I spoke with Brad before. It's something that we did growing up. Yeah. Supercross was huge for us growing up. That's what we did. Do you think that at a young age for these guys, this is a massive benefit for them, or it's going to hamper their riding going forwards?
No, I definitely think it's an advantage. I think, I did it when I was on a 65 and 85. It wasn't here in Australia, but in the UK, that's all I did. And it seems like now with World Supercross, hopefully we can showcase that a little bit more worldwide, because Supercross is America, that's the. But if you're a kid and you want to go and watch a Supercross, if your parents don't have the money for you to fly to America to go and watch, you just get to see it on TV. You don't really see it and feel it. Whereas now, they get to come and race the same track as us and be a part of it. I think it's really cool, and I think they should. Well, it's definitely a great thing. I think we should implement the kids more into even. I've got ideas of, when I was a kid, I never got to meet a pro or speak to a pro until I was a pro, lining up next to him. I even said this to Adam Bailey the other day. I'm like, man, for World Supercross, I feel like I should, put something out there that if a kid in England or whatever wants to come and do the whole day with me, do track walk, I want to give back to the sport and actually give back to like one of these younger kids that want to one day be in this position, because I had loads of questions when I was younger, but I think it's great for the kids to be able to be here, to go through it all and watch us as well and be a part of it. I think it's definitely valuable for them and will help them in the long run.
World Supercross for yourself, traveling around the world, doing what you love. Yeah. What are your thoughts with that? Where do you see it going?
I like it. I think, to be honest, first round for me in England, in Birmingham, was hectic, busy. First round, also home race. Got, fans and crowd and friends and family and everyone showing up. So it's a different dynamic to racing in America, because feels like I'm a GP, a British GP. It's or an outdoor race. Had to have the British GP, World Supercross GP there. It was very special. I think going to these different places like Abu Dhabi and being able to showcase our skills and stuff all over the world brings a different element of it as well, with travel, food, planning. But yeah, as Jamie Dobb was the last British world champion in 2001 or whatever it is, and I want one of those gold medals. I don't care if it's outdoors, I don't care if it's MXGP or World Supercross. I want one of those gold medals. I want to be the next British world champion. So that's the plan.
Yeah, very nice. Australian Supercross, you got to do it last year. You won the championship, obviously. Yeah. What do you think of the scene here in Australia with the Supercross itself?
I think it's cool. I actually think I really liked Newcastle last year. I think Melbourne, obviously the stadium's sick there. They surprised me. You surprised me here. This is Adelaide last year. I was like, well, this is different. It was on a horse track or something like that, and I was like, okay, wow, like it's not what we expect. And then come to Adelaide again, and Adelaide seems to be the surpriser, and this is a very tight arena cross style track, which again I haven't ridden since I was little, but your perception, I think, is your reality. It's how you view things. You can look at it and go, oh my God, this is so tight. It's or you can look at it like, all right, how am I going to be able to separate myself from these boys? Because you know, I can't underestimate anyone in this class. You've got Wilson Todd. I know he's solid, fast. Nathan Crawford. You've got Cole Thompson. The boys are strong and solid too. It's not going to be easy for me to, especially on a track like this, to be able to separate myself. Let's say if we all went to the States and I'm a little bit more comfortable there, I've done it a bit more, got a bit more experience, then fair enough. But it's definitely keeping me on my toes, and I'm learning as much as I can. And at the end of the day, it's round one, so go and do the best job you can, but try not to do anything too silly, and come out of here in a strong position.
Now, final question, mate. Where to from here for Max Anstie? Where do we see yourself in the next 2, 3, 5 years?
I was thinking where to from here. I mean, I'll go straight back to America on Sunday, and then Abu Dhabi in a few weeks. Let's ask Jareve, how much is he going to pay me? No, that's my team boss. I'm doing the same plan again next year. That's so US Supercross, 250 US Supercross next year, World Supercross and Australian Supercross again. Not sure on outdoors next year. It depends on when the World Supercross is going to start or this or that in the States. But at the moment, this is what I'm focused on. So definitely for the next year, I'm doing all of this. I'd like to keep going with your reef. So let's see where it goes. We have a laugh. But yeah, I've learned in my career, you know, things change. If you try and plan things out too much, it'll chop and change here and there. So one thing at a time. All I know is right now I've got the Australian Championship and World Supercross to go and execute, and we'll see where that takes us. But I definitely want to be back on a 450 at some point. I want to win on a 250, tick a few boxes, you know, get everything in order, and you know, hopefully try and do that in the US as well, and then go back to the 450 class and be competitive there. I mean, it's one of those where I'm learning each week, each time I'm out on the track, and you know, keep progressing and keep improving.
Well, Max, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and have a chat with us. Good luck here with this one, and enjoy your time in Australia.
Cheers, thank you very much, guys.